Now we are going to discuss about 5G architecture. Let's look into our agenda. We are going to discuss on 5G core architecture, 5G core network, service based architecture and 5G data storage architecture. So let's look into the 5G core architecture. Before looking into our 5G architecture, let's look into the previous legacy architectures. On the 2G, the user will be connected to the BTS, BTS to BSC and BSC to MSC, MSC to PSTN. For the 3G, the user will be connected to node B, and from node B it is connected to the RNC. From the RNC it will connected to SGSW and GGSW, and GGSW from there it will connected to the IP data network. Same like for the 4G, from the user will be connected to E node B, and from the E node B it is directly connected to the MME and SGW. From the MME to SGW it will be interconnected, and SGW to PGW it will be connected. So this PGW, SGW and MME are said to be the EPC, Evolved Packet Core. Let's look into the 5G architecture now. So this is a 5G core architecture. So in this we have three elements like network functions, which are all said to be NEF, NRF, PCF, UDM and AF, also AUSF, AMF and SMEs. And we have service based interfaces, nothing but NGSF and NRF. So what are all the elements which are all connected between the network function, one network function to another network function? This is said to be a service based interfaces. And the third one is service based architecture. So the reference points and the network elements are said to be the service based or combined and said to be the service based architecture. Let's look how this architecture evolves in our next slide. So these are all the, so this is a core network which is used for the service based architecture. So in this, the UE is connected to G node B, and from G node B it is connected to user plane function. From the user plane function it is connected to the data network, and from the user plane function it is connected to the control phase function groups. Let's look into the control plane function groups in our next slides. At first, the user plane, which is used to connect on the 5G core network, provides the data of UPLAN and processing the same as SGW and PGW. So this is nothing but the user will connect it to the G nodes and it will be connected to the user plane. From the user plane it is connected to the data network. So in this, the UPF, user plane function, which is acts same like the legacy SGWU and PGWU, nothing but the serving gateway and the public gateway. It acts regarding the same. In our next diagram, it shows the control plane function which has the AMF and SMF. So AMF is a single node to manage all the UE related function, and this SMF will be an session management function which is used to manage the sections between the all the nodes and the network links. The EPC functionality, like in our Evolved Packet Core, we have used the MME, SGWC and PGWC for the control plane in the legacy. Here we have the AMF, access and mobility function, which will act as a MME, SGW and PGW. Let's look deeper in our next slide about the other elements. So the other element is NSSF. It is nothing but the network slice selection function. It is used to slice the network functionalities, and it will be providing the data through the network links, and this will be used by the NSSI, so network slice selection assistance information, which will give the information about the links from one end to the another end. Next we will have the NEF, the network exposure function. So a network expression function which is used to serve capability and the exposure function level of service capabilities. So comparingly, like when we come to the service capabilities, it will be reacts for the services, the signals which are all from the transmitting level to the receiving level services. It will take the details and it will give the functions initiation to the signals. Let's look into the another elements in our next slide. So in this we are going to see about NF, like network functions, why these network functions are used here. So from this network function, the uniform interface is called SBA, service based architecture. It is used to connect individual network functions for a smaller unit functions, like from one network functions to another network function. So these network functions are in the NRF. NRF is nothing but the network repository function, which provides the discovery functions for NFs. So discovery functions, like what are all the activities or the tasks performed by the network links. Next we will talk about the UDR. So UDR is nothing but the unstructured data repository. So we are using this UDR to associate storage and manage the common ways, nothing but the path between one element to the another element. We also call this UDR as a FEs, like front end for the core network, which is used for the functional and service layer that can access user data and unique repositories. So that will give an user data with the unique repositories. Then we will look into the UDM. UDM is Unified Data Management, which will have all the users' data. Comparing with the legacy one, it will have the HLR and VLR data in the structure. So this UDC will act like a user data convergencies, which will have the separate user data repository and also the storage managing subscriptions. So subscriber storage and also the information from the front end, like what are all the signals going to be transferred from one element to the another element between the network lines. So it will have all the data. So let's look into the next element. So now for the next element we are going to see about is AUSF. It is nothing but the authentication server function. It is also in front end, which will gives the authentication rights and permission to the signals, to the next level node signals. Like one link to the another link, it will use to give the authentication for the permission access. It is also in front end users. Also we will have a policy control function, which will have a standard policy to control the functions from one elements to the another elements by using the reference points links. So finally we will have an AF. AF is nothing but the application function. It is a function which is used to access with the third party elements and also the internal network link elements. So let's talk about the 5G storage architecture. So 5G storage architecture, it has the UDM, PCF and also the NEF. So these three are combined and it is connected to the data access network. From the data access, it is connected to the DN, data network. So this data access and the data network is said to be UDR, Unified Data Repository. So in this Unified Data Repository, what are all the data networks details will be available? Let's look into that. So in this UDR we have the data network as DN. So in this DN we have the subscriber data, policy data, structure data, also application data. So these are all the datas consisted in the data network. So in this 5G we have lot of network functions to store and retrieve the data from the data network. So the UDSF belongs to the same PLMN of the network. It will have the same PLMN for the same network. And in 5G system architecture, this UDM, PCF and NEF are directly connected to the data storage devices, that is nothing but the UDR. So the UDR will have the DN networks with these kind of subscriber, policy and structural data in the data network. Any UEs can directly access this UDR and get their data from the UDR network. It is an temporary data storage which is used to have the caches and history of data files.